All right. Happy Thursday, everybody. I'm just having to remove all of these little note takers here. So, hope everybody is doing fantastic today. And we will get into some Q's and A's. Just get my Zoom rocking here. There's all this stuff going on with recorders and AI transcribers and all that kind of goodie. So, we'll start with a couple of updates here. Some interesting things in the marketplace. I read recently that the farm industry is looking to install AI. So they'll have autonomous harvesters. They'll have autonomous seed sowing apparatus and autonomous irrigation. And they'll be able to run AI to make the irrigation more efficient. Out west, where it's a very dry climate, irrigation is extremely expensive for these farmers. So that's pretty cool. The other thing that I thought was interesting that I hadn't seen before, which makes perfect sense though when you think about it, is heavy equipment. So think of mines where they got these gigantic dump trucks that just literally they drive in, they get filled, they drive out, they dump, they drive in. So they're looking at doing autonomous vehicles for that application. And I think that's smart because the autonomous vehicles for humans, there's a lot more complexity than, kind of going front and back. So I think that'll be pretty cool. Right now, there's also something interesting going on with Meta. They're they're going big time into their AI plans, and they're actually poaching top talent from some of the AI vendors and providers, which is it's going to be really interesting to see how that all shakes out. Quite disruptive, but it's how they do it, man. They're ruthless out there. And then OpenAI sold 41 or 49% of their company to Apple, but OpenAI now is developing office-based agents, which is in direct competition to Apple's office-based suite, where they're developing and have agents that operate on that. So basically, where we're going is we're going to a framework for work where in the past we would have multiple surfaces. For example, Google Doc, Google Sheet, Google presentation, slides, Drive. And what's happening now is all of those are kind of consolidating into one agent interface that you can interact with and pull from and send to. So it's going to be pretty awesome. Goldman Sachs also just launched their autonomous coder, which is it's disrupting a lot of their staff. It'll be there's a company that literally just laid off 200 of their coders that built their coding AI. We're like, we don't need you all anymore. And they're like, what? We helped you build this thing. Why don't you need us anymore? And then finally, Google, and I can share a screen on this one. Google just shipped voice mode, which means now you can, this is so cool. You can basically, if you want to know pricing for a business, you can push a couple buttons and the thing will call the local business on your behalf to collect the information that you want without having to actually pick up the phone and do anything. Is that wild and crazy or what, y'all? So what I see when I look at all this stuff is I see that, imagine the small business that's getting these calls. You think if they weren't thinking about AI, they're going to start thinking about AI. As these calls seep into the workplace, it's going to bring more attention and more pressure for the SMBs, the small medium-sized businesses, to adopt. So it's all good news for us, y'all. So it's a fun time to be in the business. The other thing I wanted to just point out is hopefully everybody saw we shipped our quarterly updates. So let's go take a look at that real quick, and then we'll cover just a couple quick things, and then we'll hop into the Q's and the A's. So let me share my screen here, if I can find it. Zoom. There we go. So over here, you should all know about this right here. This is something you want to kind of take a look at once in a while, but we shipped our quarterly update. So if you haven't gone through this, pretty important to go through because we made it a lot easier than ever to deploy and to execute. And there's some refinement and some streamlining in there that is pretty awesome. So before we jump into the questions and answers, I just want to make sure, does everybody have their process goal, their daily process goal? Does everybody know what that is? If you don't know what that is, you're about to learn. And what it is, we can't control the outcome. We can't say, I will close X people this week, because the yes in the credit card is not in our control. So that's an outcome-based objective. The smart professionals focus on the things they can control, the inputs or the process, right? We learned this from John Wooden, who was the college coach, who is the one that introduced this principle to us, collectively us. And what he would do is when he was watching the game and coaching, he wouldn't ever look at the scoreboard. He would look at what he called, if his team was doing banana routes, which means if they were defending somebody or if they were doing an offensive play, were they curving into their positions? Curving, bad. Cutting, straight line, good. So that's what he would look at. That was the process that he would dial into, because that process produced the correct outcome on the scoreboard. So every one of you should have a process goal. And what you should do is you should have that time blocked. It doesn't matter if you have an hour a day or 23 hours a day. You still need to have your input time blocked, and you need to know what that process goal is specifically, because that is the fuel that's going to move the ball downfield towards the end zone, right? So how do you know what to focus on? Well, the last thing I want to focus on is geeking out with technology, listen to me talk about stuff. And the primary thing that you want to focus on are revenue producing activities. So once you're set up with your appointment pipeline, your ads, your turbo ad, once all that stuff is shipped, like there's some setup work, obviously you got to focus on that, but once that's shipped and live, now the only thing you can do to make that run faster is to invest more money into it. And at a certain point, you're going to hit your ceiling of, okay, this is all that we can do right now. So then what you need to do is you need to be able to pivot into, okay, now what am I going to do as a revenue producing activity? And so we've introduced a couple of more, well, one more framework, I believe, in here in the classroom. If we go down to this one right here, you have obviously your network, right? So there's the light version of working your network, and then there's the Hermosi version, which is the not light version. It's a good version. Now you also have local networking leverage, okay? Now we're not, like, just to be clear, we're not saying you got to do all this. We're not saying you got to do any of this stuff. But if you have time for revenue production, you don't want to be doing the wrong thing. You want to be focusing on the right thing. And the right thing is always lead generation. So take a look at this. Take a look at the local networking leverage, and then take a look at this one, how to generate leads online using groups. And so basically what you want to do is you want to start your day. You have a time block. You know, when I start working on my business, when I'm wearing my business hat, I will do this thing this many times. And then if you have more time, then you do the next thing this many times. Or if you have, if you've set to do 10 instances of thing one and you have more time, then do 15 instances of thing one. Notice how it's clean, it's simple, it's clear. That's a process goal. You shouldn't pop into your business and be like, what should I do today? Because now you're going to be task switching. You're going to burn all your energy. And when you're working process, there should be zero education. There should be doing. There should be interface with the market. There should be talking, outreach, making things happen. And outside of the appointment engine, the next best use and quickest path harvest is leveraging your network, because there's people in the network who already know you, so you have instant credibility, rapport, and then when they introduce you to somebody that you don't know, you still have higher levels of credibility and rapport. So it's the path that you want to be spending the majority of your time in after you get your engine up and running. Okay, so let's make sure that we have process goals. Let's make sure that we have them blocked, and let's make sure that we're executing. And that's where the Level Up app comes in, because now you have a feedback loop and an accountability cycle. Accountability is the breakfast of champions. If you don't have accountability, you're making it significantly harder than it needs to be, right? And then you get into the process goal, and now you're just doing. It's independent of the result or the outcome, but you know that with the right doing, the outcome will take care of itself. If the farmer plants seeds, eventually they're going to get harvest. We don't know that timeline, and at the beginning, it's the absolute hardest. But once you get over that hump, then it just starts to build momentum, and it gets a lot easier. Your engine runs smoother. You're clearer, right? Your first call is going to be harder than your 100th call. And eventually you get to a point where you can pivot, and you can now bring someone in to do some of that stuff and tear yourself out of certain seats in your business. But at the beginning, you're the driver. And to drive to outcome, you need to have process goals that are time blocked, that are revenue producing. Okay? So let's workshop here real quick. If you don't have a process goal, if you don't have clarity on this, raise your little digital hand in the thing. We're going to make sure everybody leaves this call with clarity. If you do have process goal clarity, then go ahead and do a little, I guess you can do a thumbs up or something. I guess raise your hand. So do that. If you need some help, we'll workshop it real quick. And if you're good to go, then yep, David, good to go. Awesome. Jay, John, Tony, MQ. MQ, unmute, show your video or change your name. Who are you? Jay Hop. All right, Jay, we'll talk. John. Okay, MQ, going once, going twice. I'm going to boot you, man. Chat in who you are or turn on your video. Okay, so Jay, go ahead and unmute. You were unmuted and then you remuted, so go ahead and unmute.
There we go.
There you are. All right. What's on your mind?
No, just, I kind of got in just a little bit late before you started. And so I heard you say process goals. And so I just wanted to be clear on what that really is.
It's you wake up in the morning with a time block, and you know exactly precisely what revenue activities you're going to do in that time block and what order of priority.
Okay.
Do you have that?
No, I need to create that.
Yes, you do.
Yeah.
So what do you think it should look like? You can do the time blocking, but let's talk about the revenue production. So we recommend working your network, leveraging that first.
Right.
And then we have a couple of other options. You have local in-person networking. You have digital online groups. What's your initial thoughts?
My first initial thoughts, are probably the digital.
Okay.
The reason I'm saying that is because I'm in the midst of a transition.
Yeah, no worries. There's no right or wrong answer, right? We all have preferences, we have strengths, we have things we love to do, things we hate to do. There's no right or wrong answer, right? There's, when ketchup first came out, there were 67 different varieties of ketchup. So pick your ketchup, but the point here is you're committing to it, and it's the same every day.
Right.
That's the consistency of process goals that yield the outcome. If you have the right process goal and you do it 90% of the time, you should be about 80% of the way to your goal within the first 4 to 6 weeks. If that's not happening, then the process goal is either wrong or it's not being done.
Right.
So, Jay, do you feel like you're good and equipped for at least now and what you need to do next for the process?
I do.
goal?
I am. I know what I need to do now, because that's the thing, is that I really don't have a true process goal that is motivating me in the morning.
Yes. Well, so the process goal doesn't necessarily need to be the motivating factor. The process goal just needs to be clear. And you
Right.
understand that when you put the right inputs, then the machine will create the correct outputs, which is the motivation.
Yeah.
Right? So the motivation can be 10K a month, 20K a month, 100K a month, whatever it is. That's the motivation. And you understand I'm going to get there by what I focus on.
Mm.
What I need and must focus on is the process. Because if you're focused on the outcome, then you're on a roller coaster. Oh, I had a call, he didn't sign up. I had a no-show. When you're focused on process, none of that crap even blips on the radar.
Right.
That's the difference. And so we learned from the Level Up app that human performance is the key. Confidence is the key to human performance, period. And so when and part of that is an evaluation feedback loop where if we do 100 things right in the day and we do one thing wrong, we're thinking about the one thing we did wrong, right?
Mm.
And now we
Right.
feel like crap. And we did 100 things right. So we're shooting ourselves in the foot. Process goals is very similar in principle to that.
Mm.
Meaning, when you focus on the process, you're removing yourself from negative evaluation if something doesn't go right. Because you'll look and you say, I got a no-show, but instead of saying, holy crap, I got my system to book an appointment and it cost me X dollars. So as much as possible, you can by what you look at, you can produce a better outcome in your brain, your emotions, your biology, which means you're just more efficient. So the
Yeah.
point
Yeah.
here, not to get off into the deep weeds on this, is have a process goal. So Jay, do you feel good on that?
I do. Yeah. Thank you.
All right, you betcha. Okay, all the hands went down. So I don't know if Zoom just does that, but if you want to talk process goal, go ahead and raise your little digital pink hand again, and we'll John. All right. What's up, John? Uh-oh, we can't hear you. You got that cool mic, but it's not coming through, and you're unmuted. And I'm not a very good lip reader. Yep. Take your time. You can always call in too if you need to.
Is that better? Can you hear me now? It's a
Yes,
terrible
it's
mic, but can you hear me?
Yeah. It's there's a lot of static, but you're coming through.
I'm trying to fix this one. It's a whole thing. Oh, hang on 1 second. Sorry.
Don't worry, take your time.
Hear me now?
Oh, now you're good, baby.
That's good. Okay, yeah. It was a hard mute. So for me right now, I think process goal is trying to get through the training and catch up from where I left off, because I left and now I'm back and I got to get through some of the tech stuff. Most of it's already set up. I think I mentioned that already with you, Paul. But for me, it's just getting through that and changing my mindset. That's a process for me. It's changing my mindset because I'm a very technical person. I'm a network engineer. That's what I do. I architect. I'm a digital plumber. I architect networks. So switching from being a non-technical person to doing that is a change for me, and that for me is a process, and I'm trying to focus on that mindset change over anything else right now. But listening through the trainings, it all makes sense to me. And I just wanted to mention one thing. I was coming from the dentist, so I was trying to get on my phone, so it was not fun. But
I was wondering, somebody kept
yes,
it kept
that was me. It was my phone. Sorry about that.
You're fine.
But you were mentioning AI and companies getting rid of people. I just want to say this as a thing. My company is investing in AI. So the company I work for currently, they're a digital forensics company, and they have told us just what AI you need, we'll buy it, is essentially what they've said. So it is a huge thing in the marketplace right now. And I would just want to throw that as some anecdotal evidence, right? Like, we're doing it. The company I work for is doing it, and I guess that's just a side note. But anecdotally, I'm trying to go back to the mindset thing as my process goal right now, because I think for me it's a huge shift. And honestly, if I continue to do both at the same time, because I kind of like what I do, right? Like, I like my job, but I also want to be successful in this. I think it'll help me long term with that too. But anyway, that's my process goal right now is the mind shift, mindset change.
Yeah. So that's not a process goal. So remember, that's a good goal. It's an appropriate goal, but a process goal is something visible and physical. So if somebody was in the room they would with a numeric outcome target. So just imagine a process.
Okay.
Somebody's in the room watching you, and you do X 10 times.
Okay.
That's a process goal.
Okay.
So
Got it.
for now, your primary process goal would be to get to the point of where your AI is being deployed. You want to run there, right?
Okay.
Some people get that done in a couple of weeks. Some people, I don't know if they're on. No, they're on. They're not. If they're on, I'm talking to you, but I don't think they are. It took them like 2 months. They already ran through their program. So you need to have run to that point. That's like the initial deal, and then shift right into your marketing your network, right?
Okay.
So obviously, let me shift back over here. Oh, that's weird. So obviously, you want to know what the heck you're doing, right? So
Yeah.
that's the little time here. This has all been cleaned up. It's super clear. These are tight. We're trying to do the videos a little tighter and a little cleaner. Obviously, make sure that you know what's going on here. But then as soon as you do, then you want to just, while you're waiting for your system to be deployed, you can work on your ads, but you want to activate the network. This right here is the revenue production. This is what you can absolutely control.
Okay.
So a good process goal in the beginning is I will reach out to X people per day.
Okay. Got it.
That's a really good starting point. And then measure it. It's not a process goal if there's not an accountability loop. In the level up kind of has that built in. That's why we love that so much.
I got it. Okay.
How do you feel about that?
That makes sense. Total sense. Got it.
Now I want to talk to you about your mindset. It's fine that you enjoy what you're doing. That's not any conflict with what this is, but here's the takeaway. And this is the big mindset shift that I think really everybody should adopt. The money is always in the rainmaker. The rainmaker, right? The Indian who would do like, oh, no, 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 and they thought it would rain. Okay. So they bring in these medicine people, and they would, and it would rain because that's what they needed. They needed rain to grow their food. The modern day rainmaker is the one that generates the revenue for the company, the sales professional, the conversion person, the closer, however you want to call it. And as the CEO and the entrepreneur, that's the entrepreneur's primary job. Make it rain, right? Make the cash register ring. So when you're looking at trying to shift your mindset, always recognize that the money is always in the rainmaker. It was 20 years ago. It will be 20 years from today. Tech today compared to 20 years ago is entirely different.
Yeah, it'll be different 20 years from
tomorrow.
Yeah,
it'll be
exactly.
Different.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. Think about this. Let me unshare my screen here. When you focus on the tech, you've got to learn, then it gets decommissioned. And you got to learn, and then it gets decommissioned. You got to learn, and it gets decommissioned. Also, you can hire offshore tech talent for very inexpensively. So as an entrepreneur, you don't want to spend really any time in that field. Learning how to close, you learn it once, and so you're now getting a compound return on that learning.
Sure.
When you learn something and it resets, you're not getting any return. You're in fact wasting and burning time.
Yeah.
So maybe just kind of chew on that a little bit when you're thinking about that.
But specifically for this, when I've been watching your videos, that has been in my head. Like, don't care about the tech as much as it is about making it look good for the business, right? Like the person I'm trying to sell it to. Honestly, I don't care how it works on the back end. I'm be honest, because I just don't care. Like I get enough of it at my job that I don't care how it works here. That's honesty. So I'm gonna try. That's the thing that I've been learning when I've been watching the videos. Is like, okay, don't care about the tech. Care about how you're gonna make this make the business owner not able to say no. That's kind of how I've been. That's how I've been.
And that's what that's what a rainmaker does. So a rainmaker, there's a really good book. It's called, I think it's called Being a Rainmaker. But he introduces this concept of dollarization, or he might call it monetization. I was just looking at it like about a month ago. I probably got it laying around. Oh, right here it is. Rainmaker.
Okay.
Right? It's cool because there's short little chapters, like 2 or 3 pages, so it's perfect for people like us. But the idea of a rainmaker is to show, in our case, show the business why it would be kind of foolish for them to say no.
Absolutely.
So,
Yeah.
so the rainmaker, in my opinion, like the old school rainmakers that sold commodities, they had to do like arm twisting and sales gymnastics. We don't have to do any of that. I believe what we do with this service and this offering is we just kind of come along the side of the business owner and we point out things that can be improved through a mechanism that they didn't even know was in existence.
Yep.
Discovering fire for the first time.
Kind of the way the way I see it is like you're using their numbers, right, against them to make them not able to say no. Like how do you like? For me, it's like that. That's a mind. For me, it's like, okay, I get that 100%. Now it's how do I turn that into? How do I learn how to do that? Right. That's the one thing I gotta do. But anyway, I can.
I'll help you do. Okay, cool.
Yep,
All right.
yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.
All right. Did somebody else want to talk about process goal? If you do, raise your little yellow hand. Going once, going twice. Okay. Questions, general Q's and A's. What do we got? All right, Nathaniel. All right, you can go ahead and stop, or I guess I can turn it off here.
Yeah, I'm gonna stop sharing here.
Okay. Awesome,
Yeah, okay.
Tony.
Thanks for that.
You
Yeah,
betcha.
I have to go to a meeting, so I gotta get going soon.
Okay, yeah, we're
good.
all set?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, you bet. All right, any other questions for today? Any questions? Don't be bashful. We'll wrap it. Go for it, Chris. There you are.
Yeah, and actually not really a question, but I did just an update. I did my first 2-week AI assistant,
Mm-hmm.
and it expires Friday. And I met with him yesterday. And I said, "Hey, let's meet tomorrow to go over, the data that's in there." And he goes, "Oh, no, I'm signing up. Just sign me up."
I'm telling you, y'all, that's how it goes. Good job on that.
He's like, "Forget that. Just send me the recurring whatever." So I, built an invoice inside Go High Level, and I'll send out for $2.99 a month. And he's a very busy real estate and mortgage guy. And he's like, "Yep, I'll take that all day long, even if it's just screening my calls." He's like, "I'm sold."
That's awesome.
So my next was whether you send me 3 or 4 more people that want this, and we're golden. So
good to go. That's awesome. Thanks for sharing that, Chris.
You bet.
All right, everybody good? Awesome. Process goal, revenue production. It's not a process goal unless somebody who was in the room could watch you do the thing and count the thing. Make sure those are time blocked. Make sure they make sense. If you have any questions about it, let us know. That is the secret to hitting any of your goals and doing it without stroking out because you're on the roller coaster, right? Building wealth should be boring as hell. If you want something exciting, go ride a roller coaster, right? Being successful should be you wake up Monday, you do the thing. You wake up Tuesday, you do the thing. You wake up Wednesday, you do the thing, right? So you just need to know what doing the thing is, and then you need to marshal the energy and the focus to actually do the thing. Okay? So Nathaniel, you have an extra minute? Okay. Everybody else, go ahead and hop off. I thought of something I want to take a quick look at. If you can pull up your ad account again.